students, grandparents, guardians, anyone who is involved with your child's education and the reason that you're here, I guess. So I'm Mrs. Mitchem. I'll be your student's math and science teacher for 5th grade. And I'm just super excited to be back in school and see the kids every day. I know that one of the things that parents wrote on their surveys is that kids really miss the social interaction. And I did as well. And it feels so good to be back in the building and seeing the kids every day. So a little bit about myself to start with. If you've already watched this on the website or, if you've already read my letter, you can just skip ahead a little bit. But basically, I've been teaching this is my 9th year now. It's a career that I'm super, super passionate about. I love it. Last year, I taught 3rd grade, and I only taught from about January to March because I took over for a teacher in January, and then the COVID hit in March. So we did do the e-learning thing afterwards. But yeah, I'm still pretty new to Fisher. 5th grade was actually my very first class ever, and I'm really excited to be back in 5th grade. It's a great age and so much fun, so feeling very lucky about that. I am from Canada. I'm from the province of Alberta. It is freezing cold there, and I just love the weather here that when I leave work every day, it feels like I'm on vacation. So I also grew up in a small town in Wainwright, Alberta. So I know what it's like and the benefits of a small town. And that's another reason why I'm super happy to be in Fisher. My family is the reason that I'm here. So I have my husband, Clay. He builds hot rods and he also is really passionate about it. So we kind of live by the philosophy that if you love what you do, you don't work a day in your life. So he's really amazing. And then we have my stepson, Peyton. He's in 7th grade at Mahomet. And he's just a little ball of energy, and he's just been the greatest gift to me. And I feel so lucky to have him in my life. We have our pet bunny named Moose. That can get kind of confusing for younger kids. They say, that's not a moose, that's a bunny. But I had to keep it somewhat Canadian, so that's our pet. We kind of treat him like a cat or a dog. He's able to relax on the carpet and run around the house, and he's a pretty fun little guy. So hopefully the students can meet him at some point. I love to travel. I've been lucky enough to travel to 13 countries. The first picture there is from a country called Jordan. It's a place called Petra. It's basically an ancient city carved into the rocks, which is very, very cool. The next picture there is Egypt. We got the opportunity to ride camels around the pyramids, and we even got to go inside a pyramid, which was amazing. The next picture there was when I brought the boys to Canada and brought them, of course, to the Rocky Mountains in Alberta, and that's one of the large mountains in the background there. And the last picture there is from Ireland. So one of the reasons why I traveled so much was because I actually accepted a teaching job at the beginning of my career in the Middle East. So I taught in a country called the United Arab Emirates. And a lot of people know of the city named Dubai, but I was actually in a city called Abu Dhabi, which is about an hour away from Dubai. It's kind of known for its fast cars and luxurious lifestyle. It's a completely different culture, but the best thing about it was my class was completely multicultural, kids from all over the world, and I probably learned just as much from them as they did from me. So such a cool experience, and I'm always happy to talk about that. Okay, and then some of my hobbies. We love baking at our house. We're always making cookies or brownies or something like that. We love watching movies and making the popcorn. We love going on hikes and biking and camping. And then I love to read. I usually read nonfiction books. There is just so much to know in this world and not enough time. And I also love reading about teaching as well. So for communication, please check your emails regularly. You've probably noticed that already, but I'll include any important dates, maybe homework, or just other information. So check your emails. Students write in their daily planner. They also have take-home folders that they'll put any sheets that they need to bring home. Assignments will be posted on Google Classroom, especially on Wednesdays, but that can be another place. And the students know how to get on there, so they can show you that, and I can also send a tutorial if you need that. If you are not part of the Fisher Facebook page or the Twitter or the app, Mr. Palmer sends out some really great informative videos, so make sure you're part of that, and I like to follow that as well and get lots of my information from there. And then the class website. To find the class website, you just need to go to the Fisher School District page, and then you'll just go to Menu, and you'll find Directory, the staff directory. Mine is pretty easy to find because I actually have a brick background because I wasn't here for picture day. So you would just click on the website there, and I'll just go ahead and pick the website that's already loaded. Okay, so on the homepage, you have a student portal, parent portal, and a couple other buttons that you can play around with. So the student portal, that's where they'll find their websites that they'll be using. So they can find the links to all the websites. And at the bottom of every page, there's a home button. And so you can just click home, and it's just loading. It's being a bit slow. Okay, and it should just go back to the home button where you can click on. So the parent portal, it might be anything that the parents may need. We have right now the letter for the classroom that I sent home, and then that's also where you can find the cafeteria menu. So I even go on there sometimes to figure out if I'm eating lunch or not in the cafeteria. So you can use these buttons to navigate. You can also use the sidebar. Another place that you might want to go is pictures. I'll try and make sure I update this regularly, especially since parents can't be in here as much this year. I'll try and make sure that you're updated with happenings in the classroom and pictures of kids and stuff like that. So that's where you can see what's going on in the classroom. So I'll let you kind of navigate the class website a little bit more and figure that out. All right, so more information about this year. The fifth grade teachers are basically rotating from class to class, and we spend an hour and a half with each group of kids. So it's really nice knowing all the kids in the grade. Any assignments that we assign will be worked on in the think tank with Mrs. Clanton. So anything that they need to finish or certain assignments that we maybe don't have time to finish in the hour and a half, that's where they'll be working on it then. Teachers are specialized. That's a huge benefit of this all, is that we really become experts in what we're teaching because we teach it to the multiple groups. Smaller class sizes, that's something that I found to be a huge benefit for myself, to really connect and help the students with what they need. And then the kids have also commented that that's something that they really enjoy. For homework, I'm not a huge believer in homework for the sake of homework. There may be just unfinished assignments that need to be completed or some basic math facts practice. Students have their own Chromebooks this year. That's been really helpful to limit the amount of papers that are coming in. And then also it's great to just have them being fluent on technology. And thanks as well for certifying your teacher or your student on Teacher Ease every day. It really helps them to get in quickly in the morning, and it just takes a second if they're already certified. So really, really appreciate your time on that. This year, I won't go into too much detail, but in math, we have decimals, fractions, base 10 operations, so multiplying by tens or hundreds. And then we have area, volume, shapes, and also on putting things on a coordinate plane. Science, we have Web of Life. So that's what we're doing right now. That's like food chains and food webs, that kind of stuff. Watery Planet, where we study water, and then Spaceship Earth, which is basically the planets, and space, which is something that is so fun to learn about. I've taught that before, and I always really enjoy that unit, and I know students do as well. And then Chemical Magic, that's like classroom chemistry type of stuff. So some of the programs that we'll be using this year, Zern is the math program that we'll be using instead of AM. So it's basically an online program, but it's a combination of online and their workbook. So students will be doing lessons on there and filling in stuff into their workbook. And then the lessons are kind of structured with a whole group lesson to start with. And then we break into smaller groups to really get that instruction, using manipulatives and getting the students working more in small groups, I guess, not one-on-one, but a little bit more attention from the teacher. And so after that, then they'll go to their independent lessons and really show what they know. So the Zern lessons are basically structured so that it adapts to your child's need, which is really, really cool. So if your student is struggling on something, it'll give you an extra boost or an extra hint to kind of keep them going through the lesson. So these 4 things on the side in the picture, the number gym is basically the fluency at the start to get used to practicing the concept that we're learning about. And then the sprint is so that the kids get quick with their math facts. So it's the math fact practice. Then they move on to learning lab or math chat, where they'll be actually getting the lesson again. And then the Tower of Power is where they show what they know. And that's the really final part of the lesson that they can show independently what they know. The Zern is awesome because it also came up with a recovery plan this year. So that can help fill in any of the gaps that were maybe lost last year with the whole at-home learning. So yeah, that's Zern. And then we have Mystery Science. It's basically a program that Guy Doug is doing the lessons online. And then there's usually a student activity or a teacher experiment or something that goes with it. So Mystery Science, most of the kids like that as well. And then we have Google Classroom. So on Google Classroom, that's where students can find their assignments, and they can even complete a lot of assignments in Google Classroom as well. So there'll be this stream where they can find anything that's posted, but in a bit more organized way. You can also go to classwork and you can go by subject to be able to find what assignment it is that they're working on. So students are actually pretty fluent in Google Classroom. We've already been working on that. So they can show you what to do. And if you need me to send out a tutorial, I can also do that. Okay, so that's Google Classroom. All right, and then for grades, we have math will have 15% basic facts, and then 60% classwork and assignments, and then 25% assessments, that's quizzes and tests. Okay, and then for science, 80% classwork and assignments, and 20% is assessments, so quizzes and tests. I have up there Canadian is marks, because a lot of times I say marks instead of grades, or we say we're marking instead of grading. So if you ever hear me say that, that's what I'm talking about. Okay, some of the class rules, we have be respectful, be responsible, and be ready. These are the school rules, and then also the class rules. So underneath each one, I posted there what we kind of talk about and what each of those means. Okay. And then we use Class Dojo. This year it is not connected to the parents. If we have a behavior concern, we will definitely contact you privately. So we're not going to connect the parents for that. We mostly just use it for positive points and making sure that the students are doing what they need to be doing. So thank you so much for taking the time to meet me today. I'm really excited for our year together. And yeah, I just can't wait to hopefully meet you all in person one day. And if you have any questions at all, just please let me know. Thanks.